Do you realize that you're in a negative space? And I don't know if you've thought about this, but increasingly all of our conversations are about you. And this friendship is starting to feel a little lopsided. Mary, don't take this the wrong way, but it just hurts so much to see you stuck like this. Well, fortunately, Carl's got this great friend, really a better friend than he deserves. And his friend Peter confronts him and speaks the final 10%. And this gets Carl thinking. It's kind of like it sets the wheels in motion, and his life has been going downhill, and his attitude has been following downhill for some time. And things are maybe going to change for him. And the question I have is, do you? Do you have a friend like that? I hope that you do. Proverbs chapter 27, verse 6. I love this quote. It says, "Wounds from a sincere friend are better than many kisses from an enemy." Wounds from a sincere friend are better than many kisses from an enemy. In other words, sometimes what our sincere friend may say to us out of the purest of intentions may hurt us initially. But it is far better for us in the long run than all the, I could say something, but all the kissing up from an enemy, right? All the covering things over with a veneer of niceties and fake that an enemy might give us. So, do you have a friend like that? Well, soon afterwards, Carl's at his office, and like a high school buddy stops by, and he sees Carl, and they have this conversation, and his buddy realizes that Carl is as stuck now as an adult as he was in high school. And that's where this friend used to be too. I mean, misery loves company, right? And they were like two peas in a pod, but this friend has experienced this life-changing, altering kind of phenomenon in his life as a result of going to this seminar, a Yes seminar. And he wants the same for Carl, and so he encourages Carl to come out to this seminar, and albeit reluctantly, and after some time, Carl agrees to go. And as an aside, that's one of the funniest scenes in the movie when they're at the seminar. There's this guru guy who's kind of a combination between Dale Carnegie, Benny Hinn, Richard Simmons, and then you throw into the mix this British accent, and it really is, it's side-splitting, to say the least. And at the seminar, the guru comes up to Carl, and literally he grabs him by the shoulders, and he confronts him, and he essentially says, "Man, you are stuck, and I want you to make a covenant. For the next year, anytime an opportunity presents itself to you, I want you to say yes." All right, so yes is your new no. And in that context, with hundreds of people, Carl really doesn't have a choice. So he reluctantly agrees. And the first few times, it literally happens as soon as he walks out of the seminar, the first few times that he's given an opportunity to say yes or no, he has a real hard time keeping covenant. And it's almost like the muscles in his face and his lips are more accustomed to saying the word no than the word yes. But eventually he starts to get the hang of it, and he even starts to have fun with yes. He learns Korean, he takes flying lessons, he learns guitar, he volunteers at a shelter, he issues lots of small business loans, microloans to people that come to the bank. He goes out and actually listens to live music. I mean, he literally goes to a coffee shop, and in the good neighborhood coffee shops, they'll have a community board, and he just pulls off all the tabs of all the things. Like, I don't know, do you want to serve in a homeless shelter? Yes, I do. And he just goes through the list, and it's just great. And through all this, Carl discovers several positive byproducts of being a yes man. He gets all these new, great experiences. He meets all sorts of fascinating people, people that he never would have met in his bubble. And more than that, he becomes friends with a lot of these people. And so his whole relational circle grows. And there's a lesson here for you and for me. Most of us would find our lives enriched in ways that we can't even now imagine if we said yes just a little bit more. I've included an insert in your talk, in your programs today. I'm just trying to see if I've got a copy of one up here. I don't. And on the insert, there are just a few questions that I would encourage you to reflect on when you've got more light, when you get home today. One of the ones is this. What new thing did you do in the last 12 months? What new thing did you do in the last year? Or, number 2, how long has it been since you did something new for you? Number 3, what is it that you're always talking about doing, but yet you never end up doing? reflect on those, and then discuss them with a trusted friend. Compare notes, and then make a covenant with one another and hold each other accountable. I dare you to try that exercise. I want to share a far-out story of what saying yes a little more often can do, because I believe that once you step out, it tends to lead places. It tends to open doors. The Buddings, who go to this church, they're members here, they have a son named Grant. And after graduation, Grant was trying to decide what to do, and he had an opportunity to teach English as a second language in Turkey. And so that's a big decision, right? Turkey, I mean, it's not like going to Germany or something. And he decides to go there. And he finds that while he's in Turkey, he develops a genuine appreciation for the culture and the people of Turkey. And so he learns Turkish. I mean, he went there to teach English, and he's learning Turkish. And then he learns Kurdish, which is the language that's spoken in Van, which is the city that he lives in eastern Turkey. And then, just on his spare time, I mean, Grant must be a bright guy, he learns Farsi. And Farsi is the language that the Afghani refugees who stream into Turkey through Iran and come into Van, that's the dialect that they speak. All right, so he's learned Turkish and Kurdish and Farsi, and he finds out that the local UN office is looking for people who can have a reading ability and interpretation ability of Farsi to help these many Afghani refugees to fill out the requisite forms as refugees. And so Grant goes there, and he gets hired on as an intern. And as a result of being an intern and working with Afghani refugees who have absolutely nothing, Grant has decided to get his master's and PhD in cultural studies. Now let's analyze this like in reverse. Let's go through it backwards. Likely, Grant wouldn't be pursuing a PhD in cultural studies if he hadn't had that kind of shoulder-to-shoulder interaction with Afghani refugees. And he wouldn't have got the internship at the UN if he hadn't learned Farsi. And he probably wouldn't have the same respect for the Turkish culture and people if he hadn't learned their language the way that he did. And none of this would have been possible. None of it would have been possible if Grant didn't step out of his bubble and do something that was relatively risky at first blush by teaching English in Turkey. Who knows what saying yes more could do for you in your life and in my life. And I want to be quick to add, however, that it's not just a matter of simply saying yes more often, because that would be too simple, and life isn't simple. And it would also be dehumanizing, because it would take away one of the abilities that God gave us when He made us in His unique image. When God made us in His image, He gave us the ability to choose. And if we just said yes to everything, then there'd be no choice in life. I want to quote from another proverb, Proverbs 8, verses 10 and 11. It says this: choose my instruction instead of silver. Choose knowledge rather than choice gold. Right? So tempting to choose gold or riches. How about choosing wisdom? For wisdom is more precious than rubies, and nothing you desire can compare with her. God gave you and me the ability to choose, and sometimes the wise or appropriate choice is for us to say no. But sometimes the wise and appropriate choice is for us to say yes. And wisdom is knowing the difference. And one of the things I appreciate about Yes Man is it not only highlights how Jim Carrey's life or Carl's life changes when you start saying yes, it also highlights some of the negative things that can happen when you say yes too frequently, when you just say yes without thinking.